let's get to the 49ers. What impressed me the most was that they did not give up any points in the second half. The fourth quarter, they took off 8+ minutes. But the most diehard 49ers fan of all, Cenk Uygur, what did you make of this game?
Look, I said before the game that I was nervous about Carolina. In the first half, I looked right about being nervous about Carolina. In the second half, but I said I got the Niners and I got them all the way. Right?
Why are you laughing?
Because Cenk has made a way for him to be right about every moment of the game.
Well, listen, you don't get
I said the 49ers be all good here, but I said the 49ers, Carolina might win. I was right about that, but I was right about the Niners winning.
Go back and watch the tape. Go back and watch the tape. It's on YouTube. Anyway, so look, the Niners always make you nervous because Kaepernick will have wild overthrows, underthrows, which he did in the first half. And you're like, oh my God, is this guy for real or he's not for real? I don't get it. But their defense is awesome. And overall, Jim Harbaugh's a great coach. And in the end, somehow they always win. And so I love them in Seattle. I mean, I don't think it's not a walk. It's not a guarantee.
Well, it's clearly not a walk.
Right, but I mean the fact that they didn't squeak it out against the Panthers, but beat them soundly by the end, gives me a lot more confidence in next week.
But that's more defensively than offensively, it sounds like.
No,
Patrick
but
Willis had 11 tackles.
In the second half, they drove and they drove and they drove, and Kaepernick played well.
They won that game with 3 straight drives, basically. They scored a touchdown at the end of the first half, scored a touchdown in the first possession of the second half. Then Carolina had one of the most remarkable drives that I've ever seen. They moved the ball, I believe, from their 23-yard line to the Niner 47 and took more than 8 minutes off the clock.
That is correct.
And went.
Yeah, they got to the 45.
Went 33 yards.
Yeah.
It took 8 minutes. Ben
Ben made
was
that
amazing.
point while we were watching the game, and I thought, I don't think I've ever seen an 8-minute drive that didn't end with points or a turnover.
Or a turnover, yeah.
Right? It's amazing.
Yeah, or right, turnover on downs.
Well, also, when Carolina came out on such fire at the beginning of the game, and then only had 6 points. That's when I had a good feeling.
Well, they went to 10. Like 3 and then the missed, and then they went to 10.
Right. What's that? But I mean, it was 6. It was 6 at.
No, the Panthers never had 6. They went from.
The Niners had 6.
The Niners had. I'm sorry.
Right.
The Niners only had 6 points after all of that. But it's still like, I mean, they were able to turn away Carolina. They were able to turn away Carolina, and I sort of thought that. Sometimes you see these teams come out on fire, and I was, when I saw Carolina, we were all impressed. The first play of the game, just popping Gore right there. I thought, wow, these guys came to play, and clearly they did. It's the playoffs; they all do. But sometimes they just sort of spend it all at the beginning, and then they get beaten. They get slowly beaten.
And that's what you think happened with the Panthers?
I think that's what happened.
I think
with
the Panthers were
Hyped.
overhyped, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what they're. Certainly overhyped.
To themselves, not by.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell early in the game there was all that jawing. Most of it was Panther instigated.
Yeah.
This is not, they're bad guys. Look at them.
Right.
Like they were into it and they were trying to fire themselves up, and it led to, as we talked about right there in the beginning of the game,
bad penalties.
We were all like, these guys are going to get some penalties. These guys are going to get some dumb penalties. And they got some very dumb penalties, and they made some significant mistakes.
And those dumb penalties really cost them.
Yeah, and down the stretch when it was still a game, 20-10 and maybe 23-10, but the frustration that Cam Newton was showing on the sidelines as the Niners drove downfield was, I get it. You have every reason to be frustrated. I'm not analyzing his this is no Jay Cutler. Look at his sideline demeanor. I just meant this guy's. He's going to try and get, that is a guy who's going to try to get it all back at once, and he did. And because they were just,
I got to give Ben credit on that. Well, as we're watching,
did he call that one as well?
In the late drive, he's going to try to get it back at once, and he's going to throw a pick. And that's exactly what happened, and Cam Newton threw a pick.
They couldn't, based on the way they came out, and as the Niners had that last drive in the first half, the one that took the lead on the great catch by Davis, who hauled in one catch for 1 yard. As they were driving, we were all talking like, I can't believe that if the Niners score here, they're going to be ahead. That's stunning, the way that's because the Panthers looked so good. Yeah. But then it was
they
only.
They looked better than 10 points, obviously.
They looked better than 10 points. Obviously, one of those drives didn't end in any points, but they turned it into a touchdown right away by making the Niners go 3 and out. And the
also, when you have a team that you pull for, you don't look at them with any objectivity at all, and I don't think anybody who does. Maybe you do with the A's sometimes, but when they showed the players,
Bears.
they showed the players. I guess when your team's good, they showed like the linebackers, and you see the list of Ahmad Brooks, Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis, and Aldon Smith. You're like, I mean, come on. How do you play against those four guys?
But that's exactly why I bought that cap and I made the bet in preseason on the Niners.
Yeah.
Those are some of the great. And as a Steelers fan, I could still say might be the best linebacking combination I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
certainly
devastating.
they're playing like it. It's devastating.
And to go to the point about like motivation and the hype and I thought the guy who was going to cost the Panthers the game was David Florence, who was just like the officials.
Florence, yeah.
Sorry. And the officials came in like after early on. I thought the officials were great, like early, because they could have thrown a lot of flags early, and they did a lot of, hey, knock it off, or we're going to call this, like stop. And they had to do it to Florence a couple times. But it ended up the late hit that cost him was on somebody else toward the end, another defensive back. But same thing.
No, the other guy, not Munnerlyn, Mitchell.
Mitchell, right. And but the Niners were obviously pumped too, and Anquan Bolden was
very pumped,
giving it back, and then that great moment of Bolden telling Harbaugh to calm down was priceless. But make Tom Jackson's point, which I thought was a great one, because the Panthers were motivated and were acting like kids, and the Niners were also motivated, but their mistakes were like the mistakes of professionals.
Ahmad Brooks, he said that you knew that the Niners were going to win as soon as he saw Ahmad Brooks jump over the line like that. Because he wasn't hitting, he was just fired up, he was in control, he was guessing on the snap, and he jumped. And he said there's something about, you can tell a winning mentality. He's not doing anything dumb. He made a mistake, it was encroachment, but it wasn't like he was hitting somebody, making a
Right, he was trying to meet Newton midway.
Exactly.
Midway through.
He thought that was the play, and he was going to hit the quarterback, and he miscalculated.
Yeah, he tried pulling a Paul
and he didn't see Newton. He barely touched Newton. Newton flopped.
Oh,
right?
totally,
right?
totally.
And the Panthers were all like,
D-box.
and then the Panthers were all like, and they're like, just hey.
Yeah.
That's like it was just like one guy was like, hey, look, I tried to make a play, it didn't work out.
Right.
Relax. Yeah.
And it was, and at that point, it was also smart because it was so close that it didn't bring
this
much yardage. So it was.
And the Panthers, of course, Rick, as you know, made a big mistake. They went to the quarterback sneak of
Yes, I wanted to actually ask you about that.
On fourth down, when it had moved to a real yard, as opposed to third down, when it was like that, and they gave the ball to Tolbert.
Okay, so as we all know, everyone who has watched the show in the past years has seen Ben basically say, if you have a yard to go, half a yard. What would you say it is? Inches?
A football, length of the football, 2 lengths of the football.
You want the quarterback to go for it and just throw it right over. Okay, so Ron Rivera went for it on fourth down, but you did not like the play.
Well, the distance was, I don't mind a quarterback sneak there, but I don't pretend like you're definitely going to get it when it's a yard.
So what would have been the correct play call?
Well, the correct play would have been to do that on third down when I don't think you can stop.
I'm saying on fourth down.
I don't know. I don't know. That was an okay.
But I'm with Ben here. The critical mistake was running Mike Fat Ass Tolbert on third down when they had a foot to go.
I believe you mean Mike Dance Machine Tolbert.
Yeah, Mike. Just shy Tolbert.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Why are you running the fattest guy in the NFL when on the most critical play? Don't do it. You have Cam Newton, who's a rock star. Look, I think I agree with Ben. Cam Newton on third and 1 or third and goal was the correct call. Fourth and goal, probably still Cam Newton. It just didn't work out.
Right.
So you're okay with the play call?
I'm okay with the fourth down play call, just not the third down play call.
Cam Newton's very good at the read option, at the fake the handoff thing and pulling.
I'm not sure. We all thought
it was like a magic trick.
We thought
he did it twice.
No, right. That one.
I was surprised
the one that they showed for the particularly long time to D'Angelo Williams.
How did he hold on to the ball?
It's like he pulled the ball through D'Angelo Williams.
I've never seen
it came out his lungs.
He must have just huge hands.
Yeah. And one last note on Riverboat Ron and how he actually made the right call there. Even though they didn't make it on fourth and goal with that Cam Newton sneak, what happened? San Francisco went 3 and out, partly because they had to do a QB sneak on their first play just to get to 2 yards.
And then it was an amazing pass to Steve Smith on their next possession.
Right. Yeah. And no, but when they got the ball back, they were already nearly in field goal range anyway, right? So you go for it there because either you get the touchdown, which is actually incredibly likely, it just didn't happen in that case, or you get the ball back likely in really good shape, and then you kick the field goal anyway.
I would just like to say one point to you, Cenk Uygur, is you have really progressed on the show with your English, so congratulations.
Thank you, man. I've been practicing field goal for
yes,
for
you
the
have.
weekend.
It sounded really good.
We were going to have a segment now on the Young Turks where we think of sentences of the words Cenk struggles to say, and then we bet whether he'll get through it in one try.
Yeah.
But he nailed the first one we had.
Yeah.
Which was?
Statistically.
Nope, there it is. Wrong.
Statistically.
What it should be, I think, is statistically.
Statistically, New England is very good with field goals.